Hi, I'm Jim Denison with Denison Forum, and this is the daily article for Friday, April 30th, 2021. The title is A Political Leader Whose Faith is Deeply Encouraging, Preparing for a Threat That Seeks to Replace Christianity. Let me begin with this note. I'm back in the office and want to express my deep gratitude to Ryan Denison for writing the daily article in my absence. I found his insights on challenging issues to be profoundly biblical and practical. I'm so grateful to the readers who express their support of his work. It is a great honor to share this ministry with him. The American media continues to cover President Biden's Wednesday night address to Congress and the reactions to it. Meanwhile, another politician is making news in ways that are deeply encouraging. Scott Morrison is the Prime Minister of Australia and a very public Christian. He spoke recently to the Australian Christian Churches National Conference, where he shared his personal faith and sense of call to his position. The newspaper The Guardian reports that, quote, Morrison is far from alone among Australian prime ministers, either in holding religious beliefs or in talking publicly about them, but he is unusual in modern times in expressing such a direct sense of divine calling to the office of prime minister. The article takes a decidedly skeptical view of this divine calling. This is unsurprising since the prime minister's holistic faith conflicts directly with the narrative that now dominates our culture. One of the transformative consequences of stepping away from our daily lives is an enlarged perspective when we return. Like a helicopter sightseeing tour that shows us a beautiful location from a higher view, retreating from the routine can help us see ourselves more clearly from God's perspective. One of the clear messages I sensed from God in recent days is that his people must prepare more urgently than ever for the challenges that are coming. We're in the early stages of a movement the church has never faced before, one which threatens us in ways that are now becoming clearer. Sociologist Philip Reif describes the era when the Christian movement began as the first culture. It was dominated by a pantheon of gods whose followers were content with their religion and were not missionary toward the larger world. According to Reif, the Christian movement sparked a monotheistic and evangelistic second culture, which swept away the first culture. Now we're in what Rife calls the third culture, which Australian pastor Stephen McAlpine describes as, quote, hermetically sealed off from anything transcendent. It, quote, recognizes only horizontal identity constructions, not vertical ones. Here is where meaning is determined, and here is where authority lies. It is ours to construct and deconstruct. McAlpine adds these words. This third culture is highly evangelistic and actively hostile to second cultural values. For example, it considers sexual freedom and authenticity to be vital to personal and social flourishing. Biblical morality is therefore seen as dangerous to society and potentially deadly to LGBTQ individuals. The same vitriolic stance is taken with regard to abortion, euthanasia, or any other personal freedoms that are so called threatened by biblical faith. According to McAlpine, this is a new religion and a rival gospel, quote, the church has not encountered before, end quote. It seeks nothing less than to replace Christianity with its secular vision for a better future. What seems to be very bad news is actually the shadow side of very good news. Every human being is made in God's image for personal relationship with our Maker. Nothing in secular culture can fill this God-shaped emptiness that Pascal described. The further our society moves from biblical truth, the more people will hunger for biblical truth. Therein lies our opportunity and our challenge. Frederick Buechner noted, the place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Well, the world's deep hunger is to hear from God, not just about him, but from him. The storms our culture faces are so grave that we cannot navigate them without divine leadership, provision, and protection. You and I are the conduits through whom our Lord speaks to our world. But we can't give what we don't have. We can't speak a word from God unless we hear a word from God. To meet the world's deep hunger, we must first meet with God. Our deep gladness comes from such intimacy as well. Psalm 42:1 says, "As the deer pants for flowing streams, so pants my soul for you, O God." David testified in Psalm 63, verse 1, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water." More than at any time in my lifetime, evangelical Christians need to follow David's example today. As we face the cultural challenges that lie ahead, we desperately need a transformative, empowering connection with our Lord. I plan to say more about this connection next week. For today, let's close by choosing to make it our first priority as the people of God. Ecclesiastes 10 offers this remarkable insight in verse 10. If the iron is blunt and one does not sharpen the edge, he must use more strength, but wisdom helps one to succeed. The story is told of a newly hired lumberjack who felled more trees on his first day than anyone else. By the fourth day, however, his output had fallen so far that his supervisor asked him what was wrong. The man said, "I don't understand. I'm working even harder than before, but cutting less timber." The supervisor asked the lumberjack how often he sharpened his axe. He replied, "I have too many trees to cut. I don't have time to sharpen my axe." When last did you sharpen your axe with God? When next will you?